everyone. So we are live now, and today we'll be continuing the making React from scratch. So let us start with that. Hmm, okay, so I guess we are connected now. Just a second. Yep, we are connected and I'm visible. So hmm, yesterday I went through my stream. Apparently, I am a little bit small, so I'll increase my size a bit. Yep. Yes. So this fixed now mostly. Okay, nice. So hmm. So let's get started. Hmm. So where were we yesterday? We were trying to create React.createElement. Okay, the other piece of React code we need to replace is to call to the call to ReactDOM.render. Renderer is where React changes the DOM. So let's do that update ourselves. First we create a node pointer. Okay, it's not pointer to avoid confusion. Use element to refer to React element. No problem. Okay, using the element type in case h1, then we assign all element props to that node. Here it's just the title. Okay, so what do we have is element dot type. We create a node title equals to element dot title. Const text is equal to text. Okay, then we create the nodes for the children. We only have a string as a children, so we create a text node. Using text node instead of setting in a text will allow us to treat all elements in the same way later. No, note allow also have how we set the node value like we did it with h1 title. It's almost as if the string had props node value hello. Okay, okay. Finally, we append the text node to h1 and h1 to containers. Okay. Now we have the same app as before, but without using React. Cool. Nice, 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 nice. So okay, yesterday we actually did this. I don't know why, but there are certain changes which I have to do because I did it wrong. So step one, the create element function. Uh, Most probably I'm blocking the view. No, I'm not blocking the view. Okay, so my stream is here. So like my face should be here somewhere. Mm, Make it to content. Okay, GG. So no. So let's transform the JSX to JS. We can see create element calls. Okay. Sorry. Dev. Okay. Let's take this example for now. fuck is B though? Okay, cool. J6. So we had this hello world. We had h1 here, but they're using div with an ID of foo. So what we can do is make it ID, make this div, make this div, cool. And then we have a link clickable. So that was bar. So what we can do is hello world, and then there was a component B. Cool. So now what we can see is, rather than reading the complete documentation as it is, what we can do is create a terminal and then npm start. Okay, then we can do cat source index.js. So as you can see, it got compiled with a title, and this is indeed an object. Okay, so props are passed as object. Then we have string and all the children as arguments, variable arguments to the function. And what we did wrong the next time, like the previous time, was we what we did was we assumed children would be like what you said, a single input or parameter to create element function. So now it is not a single element to create parameter function. And okay, and so if we just go, okay, and then now we can run npm start, we can run cat. Okay, of course we are not executing it. So node source index.js. Okay, so now we are getting this, but we are getting two objects. We are getting two objects. Hmm. We are getting two objects here. Okay, but we should be able to compile this. So this is also calling React create element. So this should have, how is it console.login, but if this is not an object, this should have been replaced by an object. Okay, what we can do is hmm, we can print dot children. Just a second. So yes, we're getting undefined. Okay, got it. Okay, so we did get this. Nice. Console.log doesn't print so many nested arrays. This is what I can nested objects. So we are getting correct stuff. Nice. GG. Okay. Hmm. Okay. So we can see the A compiled to this. So the A, comma B. Cool. So contain string or numbers. So we'll wrap everything that isn't an object inside its own element and create a special type for them. Text element. Okay. But then isn't it like unnecessary because what like I can see like so if we cat index.js we can see we already take strings as a string argument and then like okay, just a second I'll show you something. I'm trying to show you something so and then if we just run this and run that. Yeah, so as you can see, we are already getting text as a different thing, and these are objects. So what we can do is children array should also contain primitive values like string or numbers. So we'll wrap everything inside an object, take inside that isn't an object inside its own element. And yeah, so this is what we are doing, right? Again, why we require this. So return type text element, and we have some props, node value text, and then we have an empty array of children. Okay, so let us do that. There must be something behind it. Mm, React.js. And so we can do this function create text element and then it returns type which was text element. Of course we can use TypeScript to make this. What that will do is like I can make this as an enum or some predefined type you can say and then I just a second. Just a second. Is my stream working? Yes, it is. Okay, so just a second. Okay, now it is okay. Okay, so yeah, what we could have done is we could have used TypeScript to define this as type. Now, so we have this type. Then we need props. Props will get some sort of node text. Okay, so node value text and empty children. So node value. Okay. node value sleep. Currently I'm on sleep. I'm on sleep. So we need text children gg. So text cannot have children. Just like okay. And if we go into here to call map, LSC is working. Okay. Hmm. So it is already working. LSP is working. I don't know. So we have to map each element. So we have to map f map okay child if type of is an operator type of it is not a function. So map child. Okay, so they're using okay. So now we can move ahead. Of course, it's throw an error. See exactly, they don't wrap values. Uh, okay. We are still using React's create element. In order to replace it, let's give a name to our library. We need a name that sounds like React but also hints its didactic purpose. What the fuck does it mean? So I can look up, continue. Yeah. Intended to teach, particularly in having moral instruction as an ulterior motive. Okay. The fuck? Okay. We call it didact. But we still want to use JSX here. How do we tell Babel to use Redact's create element instead of React's? If we have a comment like this one, when Babel transpiles the JSX, it will use function we define. Okay, so we use this. Okay, I'm not going to do all this. I'm Using the React preset, it will automatically convert the JSX into React.createElement, and then I can just bada boom bada bam. Okay, the render function, nice. Next, we need to rewrite our version of the ROM ReactDOM.render function. For now, we only care about adding stuff to DOM. We will handle updating and deleting later. Okay, we start by creating DOM node using element type, and then append the new node to the container. Okay, so we start by creating a DOM node using element type, and then cool. So now what we do is we create react dom.js, we save it, then we go to jsx. We can see we need document running at element. Okay, for this const root is equal to create root. Okay, okay. We are not handling that first. We are handling render function. Create root. So what does it return? It returns a root object. And root object has a render function on it. Okay. So what we do now is go to React DOM. Okay, we can create the function for now. Function render takes a fucking takes element and container. Okay. Hmm. So we create a DOM, like we create the element using the element type. If the element type is text, we create a text node, otherwise we create an element. And then we look inside all the children, we call the same function, and after that we append the child to the fucking container, and then that's how the React works. It's just nothing but a recursive call. Yes, the last React DOM. Last thing we need to do here is assign the element props to the node. Okay. Sorry. So const is property is equal to key is not equal to children. The fuck. So this is a filter criteria. So technically it is a function. It is sort of like anonymous lambda functions in Python. Yes. Hate it if you may, but Python is better than JavaScript. Object dot keys. So you take the keys of element dot props, you filter it by this for each, you take this, boom, bam, 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 bam. I just copy this. Thank you. I'll paste this. Okay. But I guess you can do it in a better way. So if I do element dot prop, so const, let's do this. So we have children one, one, two. Then we have props as ID. Okay, cool. So you prop dot. Hmm. The fuck we really use this? Okay. I thought we had some for key comma value of. Okay. Sorry. Okay, cool. Okay, so this library can do this now. Okay. So there's something called create root. It creates a fucking context, but I don't know what is the use of that. So what I'm going to do is function create root. It takes root container, and what the fuck does it do? It does nothing. It returns. No, it return root, set as root container, and the fuck is wrong with it? As render, and for this, for that, for do, and the score here, and then what we do is we export this shit. So we do this, we export this function. No, we don't export this function. Do is no, what we do is we export we export const react dom, which is a fucking object which has create root, which is mapped to create, which is mapped to underscore create root, bada boom, bada bam, bam, bam. Okay, so we'll do this. Returns this. Okay, cool. Again, we could have defined this as a type, but no, we are not using TypeScript because we are smart enough to not take upon that responsibility to create each and every type, having semantics. We just want a simple code which works. We don't want to get into that fancy stuff right now. Okay, so hopefully this is ready. React-DOM.js. What we do is now go to JSX. Yes, do this, and what we do is React DOM. Cool, and we don't have any client. We have .js, and then we go to here and then dot slash go here. Okay, no, just a second. So when you do root dot render, fuck, do we need to build a class here? Okay, so root dot render requires a base component anyways. Why are we doing create root then? So what we can do is fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this. La 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 la. We can do React DOM.render. We can go to DOM and then we can just do this. La, 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 la. Okay, so we need this. So do this, do this, do this, do this. Okay, we do this. So we around this. And then we can go back to this file. We can give its container as DOM node. Yes. But then again, how do I get this into index.html? So what do I want to do now is npm start. So okay. Hmm. haven't handled this case. So this hello world. So now what we have to do is, for once we cannot do this. So what do I have to do? Just what do I have to do here is I have to call this function. Then we can do, and then we can do yes. Okay, but then how do I put this into an index.html? So what we can do is, okay, for now let us create here index.html so header body. Nice. Okay, module scripts and HTML, LLM. Okay, the type in HTML, what's for? And then fuck this website. Slow as fuck. I can go to here. Type is equal to module. Okay. Is QM of this. Type is equal to module. Then we do this. Then we do this. And then we do this. Go to, and then we do this. One or the this. Okay, 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 okay. One, two, 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 two. So what we can do is, since it is blocked by cost policy, why is module blocked by cost policy? Okay, so for once, let us do this. The fuck, even this is a module. Is this a module? Okay, just a second. So I guess you cannot import modules. What I could have done was I don't need to import it. What? Okay, just a second. So what I'll do is Python 3 dash m. Fuck. Oh, cdb.server port 8000. So you can do this. So failed to resolve module specifier React-DOM/client. Who the? Okay, what the fuck? Okay, so this is working. Turn this shit off. Fuck, didn't I just change this? The fuck. JSX. I didn't change this. Ugh, really? Or JS. DOM. Okay, cool. Now this should work. Render is not defined. A render. The fuck? Okay, okay, okay. Let's go to file. Control Z this. Nice. And now what I can do is how the fuck is this null? How the fuck is this null? Okay, so where is this null now? Where the fuck is this null? Okay, so this is null. How the fuck is this null? Okay. What did I did HTML div id equals to app. Woo. Finally. So what I can do now is अरे प्रोटोटाइप नहीं करना so this is how create elements nested looks like without the prototype. Of course, ignore the prototype. We have this. We have this. We have this. We have this. Okay, I just check my internet. Okay, I still have internet to stream for maybe 30 minutes. I don't know. Finally. So, let's go ahead. But before we start adding more code, we need refactor. The fuck, why we need refactor? There's a problem with this recursive call. Handling user input or keeping animation smooth, it will have wait. Damn, nice. So we are going to break the work into small units. After we finish each unit, we'll let press the interval on and the rendering if there's anything else that needs to be done. Damn, the fuck, how is it doing? Now here is where I learn. So what we did before was like what I did. I don't know about you guys, but I knew React did these stuff behind the like behind the good old curtain of JSX. So it used to compile to React.createElement all thanks to the sorting and the all the other blog posts I'm following. So I got to learn about this. I like pretty much this thing was pretty much understandable that yeah we are looping through the objects and then we are rendering it. We are just technically most of it is vanilla, like everything is vanilla JavaScript. I really didn't know what is I'm going to learn in this. Like all of this was obvious, but now I can see where we are going with this. So yeah, of course, like we didn't think Java browsers are fucking single threaded. Like not browser, but the event loop is in which JavaScript is executed. So JavaScript is technically single threaded if you don't use workers. So if you actually take on a huge task, it blocks the main thread. You cannot do something else. You cannot handle user inputs animation smoothly because so the thing is browser is very smart. Event loop, it technically it is like concurrency, more not like multi-threading. Concurrency, it is concurrent, like it switches between context, then it does your stuff, it handles the input. It is just like a fucking operating system. The user input is like an interrupt. It stops the main thread, do this, all that. But if our children are not rendered and one of the children does have user input on it, it actually blocks. This is a blocking code which doesn't allow uh, browser to handle stuff in between. So yeah, this is the point where we'll start learning. And we are also halfway through the stream, hopefully if I have internet left. But yeah, we can take a short break here. Short break for I don't know. So currently it's 6:22. Let's begin at 6:35. Okay, 6:35. 6:35 IST. IST. So I can take a pause now. Hello, hello, hello. So we are back. Okay, so concurrent mode. Just a second. Let me check if I have internet left to stream. Yeah, maybe I can stream for more 30 minutes more. I don't know. So yeah, step three, concurrent mode. So, but before we start adding more code, we need a refactor. There's a problem with this recursive call. Once we start rendering, we won't stop until we have rendered the complete tree, element tree. If the element tree is big, it may block the main thread for too long, and if browser needs to do high priority stuff like handling user input for keeping an animation smooth, you'll have to wait until the render finishes. So we are going to break the work into small units, and after we finish each unit, we'll let the browser interrupt the rendering if there is anything else that needs to be done. We use request idle callback to make a loop. You can think of request idle callback as a set timeout, but instead of us telling it when to run, the browser will run the callback when the main thread is idle. React doesn't use request idle callback anymore. Now it uses the scheduler package, but for this use case, it's conceptually the same. Yeah, like the thing is, we are learning basics of React, like how a very primitive React would have worked. Okay, just a second. So yeah, how a very primitive React would have worked, but again, we don't want to build a React in its whole entirety. So that's why we are using this tutorial to follow through the React basics. So this is a great tutorial, by the way, and like I guess the learning will begin now, because I never thought this recursive call would have blocked the main thread. So this is what is great about these tutorials, right? You think everything is going well, and then they're like, no, this function doesn't work very well practically. So you have to change it. Okay, so how are they changing it? Okay, so we had this. It got replaced by let net unit of work equals to null function work loop. There is a deadline. Let should yield is equal to false, while next unit of work and should yield is false. If it is false, then not is true, and then yeah. Okay, so if there is something, there is a unit of work and should yield should be true, then next unit of work is equal to perform unit of work. Next unit of work should yield is equal to deadline dot time remaining less than 1. So if time remaining, the fuck, and what is the deadline? Where the fuck is the deadline? How do you pass it? Request channel callback. There is this function which calls this function, which has a deadline, which has few booleans and a function to handle next unit of work. It checks if I should yield or not. If it should yield and there is a function defined for, like, there is the next unit of work, then you do that next unit of work and it returns the next unit of work. Then there's this deadline dot time remaining. I don't know what the fuck is this. Which should be less than 1 other time. If there is no time remaining, right? Then you should not yield. Is this what they're saying? I don't know. Okay. So we are that needs to done. Okay. Also gives us a deadline parameter. We can use it to check how much time we have until the browser needs to take control again. As of November 2019, concurrent mode isn't stable in React yet. The fuck? So it is not stable in React. That means browser doesn't, like all the browsers doesn't handle it the same way. Is this what stability means? The stable version of the loop looks like this. Need to set the first unit of work and then write a perform unit of work function that only performs the work but also returns the next unit of work. Damn. Okay. So let us take this part and write it by hand. So whenever I want to understand a code, just type it using your own hands. Don't copy paste. Let unit of work equal to null. Okay. So now maybe we are into. So okay, we also need to refactor our code. I'll do it at the end of the stream. Like okay, so just a second. I need to keep a check on my data. Most of the time, it just evaporates and the stream stops early. This happened previous stream, so yeah. We have this and a function. Okay, so we do replace. Okay, so we haven't replaced render as of now. Let it build normally. We'll insert this line of codes. These lines of codes. Let connection. Let connection. Okay. Function work loop deadline. It takes a deadline. Okay, it is just like go context. So if it was go, this would have been replaced by context with a deadline. Makes sense. So let should yield equals to false. Let should yield equal to false. Okay, so it should not yield. It should not yield right now. Okay, and then there's a loop while next unit of work is not null and it should not yield, then only run this loop. So it is not yielding anything, and there is no, then there is a next unit of work. Okay, so okay, so next unit of work is equal to perform unit of work, perform unit of work, yeah, unit of work, next unit of work. So there's a function. It's sort of like passing a linked list. It takes the current node and returns the next node. So it takes the current unit of work and returns the next unit of work. Okay. So now it checks should yield. Yield. I know it is not yield, it is yield. So should yield is equal to deadline dot time remaining less than one. Like if time remaining is less than some threshold, like assume time remaining returns how much time is remaining for deadline to reach, and if it is less than a threshold, then should yield be true. It should be true, right? If it is less than the threshold, then it should be true. If should yield is true, should yield is true, the next loop, the next while loop will have next unit of work, but should yield would be true. That means should have yield. Then this the second condition, this second condition, what the fuck. Okay, so this second condition would be true, but there is a not here which will make it false. This will break the while loop. So if there's time remaining, if deadline has time remaining, then it should yield, right? It should yield and they should break the loop. It should not perform next unit of task. It should yield it first. So request idle callback for loop. Uh, I just hate. I need to have more control over my keyboard. Okay, so that was spoiler alert. So we then you call request idle callback. Okay, so request idle callback. Is this a fucking function in JavaScript? It is a fucking function in JavaScript. The fuck? And Safari does not. Nice, 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 nice. So, what we have is request idle call back, but React doesn't use request now it uses okay, pulling a new tab. Let's look at this. Should React use request animation frame by default? Consider the following sample code. The fuck? Okay. Class extends React.component. Uh, private can render. Okay. Just a second. The vocal light. I'll just check that at the end of the stream. So you take this. Listen this. This can render. So when output stats is hit, I am getting frame rates of like 2000 fps. In other words, no seem to be a limit for React itself. Is this correct? Think it would be good to simply wrap the if this can end up logging request frame. Okay. So what I think is this post is like, can we use request animation frame to get each frame and check if we are free to render that or not? Maybe. I don't know. I guess this is what it is asking for most probably. No, React does not currently use request animation frame at all. Although in the future we plan to use it to polyfill request idle callback. Sounds good, but don't forget not to schedule another frame if you have already scheduled one. Damn. So technically, React is a game. Each frame React checks sort of that if it can schedule or render another piece, a piece of work like few components, maybe few nodes of the trees, and if it is possible, it will render it. Otherwise, it won't. And it is running in a request animation frame, so it is technically like what do you say, like a game. It's like a game, and you're just rendering a game. So mostly you're rendering UI. Damn nice. So React's rendering is a separate thing. And the virtual DOM is a separate thing. And they interact. React renders stuff on. So what I heard is React is generally platform independence. Like sort of like you can take React's concept and use it with other backends, not just web like browser, but even for Android like React Native or iOS like React Native, and you can use it to render there also, which is interesting. So like we can create, we can take a game engine or rendering engine like SDL or something like that, and then or GLFW, whatever it is, and then we can have a UI layer on top of it, and on top of that we can have this React layer which reactively builds the UI and handles all the changes and then checks for user inputs and all that. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so reopening for discussion. We actually had a RF schedule priority earlier in the async implementation, but later cut it. I don't fully remember what happened here. The fuck, the fuck, man. Damn, source schedule. Okay. So this one, what is polyfill? Sorry. So we'll read this sometime later. Like it will take me time to understand. But yeah, the window.request idle callback method queues a function to be called during a browser's idle periods. This enables developers to perform background and low priority work on the main event loop without impacting latency. Critical events such as animation and input resource response. Sorry, functions are greatly called in first in first out order. However, callbacks which have a timeout specified may be called out of order if necessary in order to run them before the timeout elapses. But again, the problem is that Safari doesn't support it. Nice. Safari never doesn't support it. Okay, but okay, so this is used widely. Okay, so I'm running low on internet currently. Okay, let us look at this. Request animation frame scheduling for nerds. All RAF callbacks runs in the same or next frame of work. The okay, so RAFs aren't throttled for you if they take too long to execute. Let's say there is five callbacks queued up and they'll take each take 100 milliseconds. The browser will not distribute them amongst many frames. It will try to run them all in the intended frame, even if it takes 500 milliseconds. That means a pretty significant jank. You may be asking why would there be five animation frame callbacks requested from within a single frame. It can accidentally happen if you do two very reasonable things. You request a new callback at the end of a RAF request animation frame. You request RF callbacks from an input handler. As a result, your double slash triple your work each frame. Ouch. It's up to you to coalesce RF on. So if there's a chance of multiple of same callbacks firing within the same frame, then you must manage the scheduling slash coalescing. Okay. That said, Chrome at least will try to help some. If RFs are hogging the main thread, the browser will start to throttle input events so that hopefully the contention will clear up. And now this two diagrams that help illustrate the life cycle of events in a frame. So life of a frame. So you take input events, blocking input events, non-blocking input events. Okay, you have timers. Then you have beginning of a frame, that frame events, then window resize, scroll, media query, animation events, request animation frame callbacks, insertion observer callbacks. So you have RF here. And you have then you have layout like recalc is I guess CSS stuff. So recalc style, update layout, resize observer callbacks. Okay, composition update, paint invalidation record. So it's like you just paint everything. Okay, event dispatch diagram. Okay, okay. So this was a bit useful, but I really don't know how it works. Okay, so RxJS also has some sort of scheduler built into it. Okay, so what we can do now is okay. So I'll link this also. So this gives copy clean link. Okay, and while we are on it, yes. So what it does is technically it handles a it handles a callback when your browser is free and it has nothing to do. So and it is mostly not out of order, it has a queue, but if your callback has some timeout options, then it will take that out of order. Nice, it is pretty smart. I don't know how browsers are written. They are black magic, some kind of. Nice. Okay. 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 Okay, so we have this request title called work loop, and then we also call this here. So okay, cool. Okay, so this is a to do. Of course, this is a to do. Period. Move. Yank. Do. And you know what? Yank. Paste. So function to do. Nice. Now we move on to fibers and we will hmm. So do I want to sit for 15 minutes more? You know what? I'll refactor my code. We'll take this up in the next stream. We have reached we have reached fibers, and the first stream was useless as fuck because we did nothing. So yes, we will we will take fibers up in the next next stream. Okay, so okay, so what we can do is now quit this. Okay, quit this. So we back. What I want to do is I want to define how everything builds. So for building, we can make a build folder. We make a build folder, then we can make a lib folder. Lib will contain React and React DOM. So make the lib. What do I want it in source? No, I don't want it in source. And then we can make it build. We can make directory. No, we don't make directory. Then we can just move index.html. The fuck, the fuck, the fuck. Okay, source index.html to directory. Then we can, okay, so we can do this tab new. We can take JSON. We can go to start, and what we can do is we can shift it to build. Okay, so we can shift it to build. Okay, we can shift react.js and react.dom.js to lib. So we can do this source react start to lib. We can just lib. Okay, we have react stuff here. Okay, cool. And what we can do is, no, I don't want this. I don't want this. I want this. Blam, 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 blam. But okay, yes, makes sense. Okay, so we have left folder here, and then what we can do is we can go to HTML. We can take this from build. Okay, maybe my internet is over now. Is it over? Yes, it is over. So I'll be ending stream. This is from lib and this is from lib. So I'll try running this and I'll end the stream now. So thanks for staying here with me and listening.